Okay, so today I'm going to make one of my all-time favorite Chinese stir-fry lunches. It's going to be tomato, beef and rice with egg. So for that you'll need some tomatoes, some onion. Ideally you'd have green onion, but I haven't got any, so it's this onion. A couple of eggs. This is about a pound of beef that I've pre-sliced and I've marinated overnight with soy sauce, sesame oil, Shaoxing wine, and a little bit of cornstarch. And then to make the gravy, I use Worcestershire sauce, or oyster sauce. Now this is one with the people on it. This is the best one in my opinion for cooking. A little bit of rice vinegar to add some sharpness to the tomatoey taste, and some sugar and garlic, and good old cornstarch for thickening. So first what we're going to do is we're going to put the rice on. So I'm going to use some jasmine rice in the good old rice cooker, and we're going to fire up a brand new wok set that I have, which is called the Cuisinart Outdoor Wok Station. And that's going to be the first time I'm using that, so let's see how that goes. Meanwhile, I'm going to prepare all of this stuff and get started. Always use chopsticks for a good scramble. So when you make the gravy, you're going to end up using cornstarch to make a slurry. This is just the dry cornstarch in a bowl right now, and this is kind of the amount I have. I'm going to use a little bit of water to make a paste. It has to be cold water, and the reason why I've got so much is I actually don't know how much I'm going to need. The tomatoes will cook down and release liquid, but when you make the gravy, you want enough gravy to go over the rice in an appealing way. So you can make the cornstarch slurry and then add some, and if it needs more, you can add more. If you add too much, you can't go back. So that's one thing. And I forgot to mention that you should also, if you want a more tomatoey flavor, use tomato paste. So this is a frozen piece of tomato paste. You know when you get tomato paste in a can, it always gives you a giant can and you can never use the whole thing up at one go. But I've discovered that if you freeze tablespoonfuls of the tomato paste and put them in a Ziploc bag, you can then just reach for the small amount that you need every time when you make a meal, and that actually saves you from wasting the whole can. And these don't really go bad as long as you use them like in a reasonable time frame, say a month or 2 months or something. For a whole, you can make 6 or 8 portions from one can of tomato paste, and for 99 cents I think that's a pretty good cost saver. So a quick word about this meat. I actually use top round roast that I cut into pieces, always slicing against the grain, so on the diagonal of the grain of the meat. And I marinated overnight with 1 tablespoon of light soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of dark soy sauce, half a tablespoon of Shaoxing wine, and 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, and just mix that together, and then with a sprinkle of cornstarch to soften the fibers of the meat. That's going to give you a better result for stir frying. Well, it's been in the fridge overnight, so I'm just going to leave it on the counter with the lid on just to come to room temperature. Okay, so I have 3 cups of washed jasmine rice that I've put into the rice cooker. So this happens to be a Zojirushi rice cooker. And a quick tip, if you use the dispenser that comes with the rice cooker, do not use a different one. You can only use the one that comes with, because the measurements for the inside of this are based off of the cup that they give you. So for 3 cups of washed jasmine rice, you have to look at the thing that says jasmine here and then go fill your water up to that line. It doesn't work if you use different kind of rice because the ratios will be off. So, you know, I also like to use filtered water to cook my rice. I'm a bit weird like that, but if you don't have a water filter, you can use regular tap water, it won't hurt. And I like to go a tiny 1 millimeter underneath the line because I like my rice a little bit firm and not mushy, so I'm always going to do that. So there I am, right up to the 3 line, and then backed off by 1 millimeter. And so the purpose of washing the rice is it takes all that starch out, well, as much as possible. So put the lid down, and then come down here, and then you're gonna press, well, it's actually already set to jasmine, so just press start. And then 59 minutes later, your rice will be ready. So let's come back then. Okay guys, this is my new Cuisinart Outdoor Wok Station. So it came flat packed and we had to put this all together. So here are the controls. Basically it's on or off, low and then to high. Here is a bottle of gas which you need to connect with this, and then this will provide the fuel for this 50,000 BTUs fire. So we're going to connect that. Cuisinart also provide this nice handy carbon steel wok, which you see that we've pre-seasoned. So this took quite a long time when we first commissioned the machine to actually pre-season the wok, so that what happens is you'll see this kind of discoloration. That's actually a patina. So it's making a very, very tiny thin layer, which is non-stick, because it's got a layer of carbon particles which came from the high smoke point cooking oil that you need. So this is what is going to provide us this non-stick surface. And then the lovely sort of wok hay, or the flavor that comes from stir-fried food, is going to be as a result of this kind of curved shape. So let's put all that together. Okay, we're going to start the gas here. So we're going to open the flow of gas. It's all connected. Turn this one, push in, press low, press start. There's the flame. Can you see the flame?
Yeah.
Okay, so to go high, we're going to go, whoa! Let's put it on low to medium first. Got the wok that's perfectly clean. We're going to give that a minute to heat up, and then we're going to add some oil. The oil's going to create a kind of non-stick coating. So just by the way, this is a high heat grapeseed oil, but you could use vegetable oil, avocado oil, anything like that. And now you can see the heat's coming off. I'm going to turn it down a tiny bit. I'm going to do my eggs first. So the eggs are already pre-scrambled. Get that look at that. That is what I call scrambled eggs. So all this is going to go pretty fast. Then we'll get the eggs out. Oop. Adjust the heat a little bit. Put those eggs to about 3/4. Don't worry about contaminating the same dish that it came in, because the eggs are going to get cooked one more time. Just get rid of all those bits there. So we have, wow, plenty of fire here. Add a little bit more oil. Oh my gosh. Take all that egg out. Now we're going to brown the meat. That's just to seal it a little bit, and you can see it's getting nice and caramelized and brown there. So there you go. This is why you need to do it outside, because if you did it inside, it will make the whole of your house smell. And also, it's a good idea not to do it underneath the patio, because potentially start fire. So
When it's about 3/4 of the way, I think you can take it out. Again, don't worry about undercooking it because it's going to have one final go. We'll get that out pretty quickly. Whoops. Last one. Okay, now ready with the tomatoes. Going to put more oil in. And now the tomatoes are going to... That's a little bit of the fire coming off, but that's okay. So this step is going to cook the tomatoes down. You can add the onion. Ooh, my God. Good thing I'm going to wash my hair tonight. Turn it down a little bit. Wow, that's what I call fierce. Now I can add the garlic. And don't worry about seasoning too much at this point because, you know, the wok has some of that residual taste in the pan from the meat that was marinated overnight. So it's already got a little bit of residual salt in the food, so don't worry about that. So put your tomato paste, put that in. And that's the beauty of having this frozen tomato paste that you can just use whenever you need it. And now the tomatoes are cooking down, so they're starting to release liquid into the pan, and that's going to melt into the gravy. And the whole thing's becoming very nice now. I'm going to add a tablespoon of the vinegar, and that adds a nice sharpness to the sauce. And actually balances it out a bit. And then I'm going to add our sugar. Look at that. The tomatoes really been cooked down a lot, very, very quickly. It happens very fast. If I was doing this on the stovetop, probably would have taken me twice as long because the fire just isn't as high. I'm going to add my mixture of Worcestershire sauce and oyster sauce for that brown colour gravy. And don't forget that oyster sauce also has a lot of salt, so you only need about 2 tablespoons. So now the tomatoes are about 5/8 of the way cooked. I think you can add your meat back in. And the rest of the meat that's still a little bit pink will get thoroughly cooked in this next session here. That's why it's always good to have everything prepared and ready to go, because it's going to go fast. That. And then because, you know, you want a decent kind of gravy to go on your rice, right about now we can add that cornstarch slurry and then put the egg on top. Or if you like, we can stir the egg straight back in. In fact, let's do that because it's not going to hurt. Some meat fell into the egg. And then just break up the egg with your spoon or your ladle. And that's going to create a lovely slippery texture, which is what I really love from that Hong Kong style Cantonese tomato beef and rice. Most of these recipes that you find at these Hong Kong cafeterias or cafes were invented, 100 years ago when Hong Kong was still a colony, and they had a lot of traders and people coming in with all kinds of different foods. So people just wanted comfort food, so they kind of mixed Chinese and Western cooking together, and that's what made the kind of Hong Kong food that we know today. And look at that. And so now we added the cornstarch slurry, so that's made a lovely thick gravy that will go very well on top of your rice. Give it a taste test. Perfect. Turn the heat off. And we can put this on the rice. So Cuisinart actually also provide this wok stand, which you can then put on any table safely so it won't hurt the table. So let's just do that and then put the lid on just to keep it nice and warm. Well guys, I would wait until the whole thing has cooled down before you disconnect the gas. Well, obviously turn the gas off as soon as you finish cooking, but you can chill for a bit, disconnect the gas, wait for it to cool down and give it a wipe. And because it's stainless steel, it cleans up really easily, so you want to get as many of those oil spots and dirt off as possible because you don't want bacteria, obviously. But here you can see there's still some residual heat because of conduction during the cooking process, so it's still a little bit warm. I would let it completely cool down before putting it back into its place and putting the cover back on. Definitely think this is excellent. I haven't done many recipes using this. Actually, that was my first time, but I definitely recommend it because I can definitely tell there's wok hay. And when I do it on a stovetop, there's no wok hay, obviously. But yeah, for real, this thing, 50,000 BTUs, hey man, that's all you need. I'm not a professional cook or a chef, but it's good enough for me, and can't wait to do fried rice on here and many other recipes. Okay, the timer for the rice just went off, and I just used the spoon to fluff the rice. It's a textured spoon, so don't try to break up the rice grains, but just push it around, and you'll have lovely fluffy rice to go with your beef and tomato. Okay, so I've got my rice plated up, and now I'm just going to serve myself. So here's that lovely, still have some chunks of tomato with the beef and the lovely gravy. And don't forget to take some egg. If you had chopped green onion or spring onion, that would go down a treat. Bon appetit! Or, as Chinese people say, 吃饭.